Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. As we continue in the story of Job, in the book of Job, we find that Job is having a very rough time with this situation that he's in. He had lost much of his possessions. He had lost his wife, even lost his health, covered in boils. He's just having a very difficult time. And he wasn't receiving much consolation from other people. His wife told him to curse God and die. His friends are meeting his situation with very much skepticism and criticizing Job. And there really was no external consolation that Job could receive from anybody else. But we do read today that he did find consolation from something. And it's found in chapter 6 and verse 10, where it says, "But it is still my consolation, and I rejoice in unsparing pain, that I have not denied the words of the Holy One." And that word denied can also be translated, have not hidden the words of the Holy One. But the idea here is that he had remained faithful to the words of God. And that was his consolation. When he didn't receive consolation from anybody else, he could at least have consolation in the fact that he remained faithful to God's word. And that at least gave him something to find comfort in. And so this is very instructional to us as well. Because what this teaches us is that oftentimes we find ourselves in situations that we cannot control. As a matter of fact, perhaps that's one of the most difficult things about loss, is that sense of a loss of control in the situation. Things are taken away from us and we have no control in getting them back. And losing that sense of control can be devastating and can cause people to really plunge into depression. But whenever we encounter tragedy, we have to remember that we do have at least some control. We may not be able to control our circumstances, or we may not be able to control the situation that we're in. But one thing we can control is how we respond to the situation. That always remains within our control and within our grasp. And so that can be very comforting, just to know that in a situation where everything is chaotic, where everything seems out of control, at least I do have some sense of control, in that I can control how I respond to the situation. And Job responded in the situation by still remaining faithful to the words of the Holy One, or the words of God. And we can too as well. We can decide to encounter the situation all the while holding on to God's word, remaining faithful to God's word, drawing closer to the Lord, deciding to take a stand on God's word. And then, even if the situation doesn't change, even if things still seem out of control, even though we go through the trial for many days, weeks, months, or years, we can at least look back on our encounter with that tragedy or that difficult situation and say, you know what, at least I'm remaining faithful to God. At least I'm still holding on to my integrity. I'm still holding on to my faith. And that brings me consolation. And that's the one thing I can control. And that's the one thing that I have controlled. And that's the one thing that I find consolation in. So let's find encouragement in Job chapter 6 and verse 10 to say, even in situations where where everything seems to be completely out of control, we do have control. We have control of ourselves. We have control of our response. And hopefully we make the right choices in those particular situations, so that can at least bring a little strand of consolation, if nothing else, in the midst of difficult circumstances. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our readings today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.